Hey guys, you're listening to Duo with your favourite duo. I'm Joyce Mam.
And I'm Joyce Ellie.
And we're here to talk our shit. How are you, Joyce?
Imaginary theme song. I'm good. I'm good. How you been?
I'm good. Are you ready?
I'm ready. What have you got for us this week?
Today we've got another dilemma.
Okay. Right.
It's very different this time.
You know, my heart just sunk.
Are you guys ready?
Okay, cool.
Right, I'm going to read it out for you all. Oh gosh, I'm really scared to even say this dilemma. Anyways, I am brought up as a Muslim, but recently I've been questioning different things that I've been taught and whether it works for me. Should I tell my parents?
Oh, this is serious. I was like,
the mood just went from
Sorry, can you repeat that again, please?
Yeah. I am brought up as a Muslim,
mm-hmm.
but recently I've been questioning different things I've been taught and whether it works for me.
Okay.
Should I tell my parents?
That's hard. I think that's difficult. That's a difficult position to be in. I feel like in life, like you kind of question things anyway. Like it's just kind of life.
Mm-hmm.
Should she tell her parents?
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the reason why. I think.
Yeah.
It's just. Is it that your parents are like heavily involved, maybe like in your faith and like in your relationship with your faith, and maybe that's the reason why? To me, because it just kind of seems like you said recently,
yeah.
I would say see what's going on for you first.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. I've always been just kind of take time to like figure out what the situation is. What is it that you're not agreeing with, or you are agreeing with, or what doesn't fit, and then figure out the why you feel feel
the need to tell.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, I would like to know more. I know like age is an important thing, I think, for this dilemma, only because depending on your age, I could advise you better pretty much. Like if you're a young girl and like your parents are leading you in a particular way or particular path and certain faith, then it's different. Like maybe she might feel like she just wants to have that open discussion. So yeah, I think it depends, but yeah, I feel like if you're an adult, then it's a bit different. I don't think your parents need to know every little thing.
Like your faith is kind of like
your path and what you want to do. But, so yeah, it's a hard one.
It is a hard one. I think it's like what we're saying, it's like it's such a personal decision in terms of what works for you, what doesn't. And what you want to change. Ultimately, your faith is between yourself and God.
Yeah. And also, I think it depends on your relationship with your parents, whether you're comfortable enough to have that conversation. But if you're asking, are you? Like, I don't know. It's just, it's a bit of a hard one. Yeah.
There's a reason for questioning it.
So I think maybe just sit down and think about it before you do anything.
And see if there's also other trusted people like you can speak to for advice as well. Like maybe they can talk you through like some of the questions that you're having as well. Just so that you know when you're kind of going to speak to your parents, depending on like how strict they are or how involved they might be in your faith, you kind of have a bit more to back up what you're saying with whatever decision or whichever way you choose to go. I hope that helps.
So that leads
So is it faith today?
Yes, it is. It's faith.
Right.
And I always feel that faith is such a hard topic to discuss. But there's no topic that's off the cards for us. So here we go.
Guess. I mean...
Here we go. Right. So, where should we start?
Where do we start?
Okay, let's start here. So, Joyce, do you believe in God?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you identify? Is that the word? Or
that is the word.
Yeah. Like, would you say like you're a Christian? Would you say you're a Muslim? Like, what are you?
I identify as I love Jesus and nothing else, and I leave it there. I don't identify. It was a recent, not recent actually, it's been a couple of years. Yeah. I believe in Jesus, and I leave it there. In terms of like, do I identify with religion? Not personally.
Mm-hmm.
But Jesus is my Lord and Savior.
Yeah, I hear
if that's like, do with that what you will.
Okay, and sorry, I'm just throwing questions out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I feel
like, and do you feel like it's important for people to, you know, have their own path and their own decisions on their faith? Because I think from the dilemma, a lot of parents influence their children to follow
what they're following.
Yeah. So what's your views on that?
I agree. I think it's so personal at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And for me anyway, there's a lot that your parents can kind of teach you and introduce you to, which I agree with. I think it's good to be introduced to things, but ultimately the decision to kind of take that further is always going to be your decision, and it's for you to decide how to put that in your life, and it's for you to accept with whichever faith that you're going to walk in that, and you're going to follow the rules, the guidelines, the principles, commandments, whatever it is. So it's so personal.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree. I feel like I don't want it to always be negative, but I feel like when it comes to faith, I've got more negative things to say. Not 100%. In a bad way, but I do feel like from people's experience close to me, I have realised that parents, they're only trying to help guide. Like, I feel like sometimes as children we are quite harsh on our parents as well. Like, I feel like they just want us to follow the right path, which is absolutely fine, but I do feel like they also need to kind of, you know, understand that children, no matter how old you are, just as their children, they're old enough to make those decisions. And I feel like sometimes you being too strict on your children creates your children to go the other way. Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of people in my life where I've noticed that's happened too. Not necessarily, you know, I think not necessarily within Christianity, but especially with Islam. A lot of my friends have been so consumed in learning about their religion, which is absolutely fine, but they didn't understand it at a young age, so they've grown up to kind of
go the other way.
So I do feel like it's important for parents to just bear that in mind and just be a little bit more, you know, soft on their children, no matter what religion you are, or, you know. So yeah, I don't know, I think No,
I agree. I think, like what it's saying, the root is like, it's such a personal decision regardless, and that's kind of always going to be something that you're going to have a journey with, whether it's to take something like your faith more seriously, or it's to go in the other direction, or people that have gone the other direction and then come back. Like, at the end of the day, it's your personal decision, and you can't do it for anyone else. Like, when you do it for other people, it will feel like a chore. Like, you're gonna, like you said, you're gonna go the other way, you're gonna hate it. And there's so many different things where I don't know how to say it properly, so I'm gonna leave the point there.
Okay. For me, it's so hard, because I was gonna say,
like, what did you identify with anything?
Do you know what it is? I feel like I don't really, and I think the reason being is because, like, growing up, like, my parents, I don't know, it's such a hard one, because I've, like, for example, I've only been into, like, a proper church as an adult. Like, I never did as a child.
When you say proper, like, what do you mean? Like, as in an actual
church. I've never been in a church. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but...
It's not crazy.
It's just like, everyone's just... Yeah, it's so weird when you speak about it, but... Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've been into, like, in a proper church as an adult. So it's like, going in as an adult, I never understood simple things like, what was it that I was so confused by? Like, speaking in tongues. Right. What is this? Like, I never understood it because I've never been in that environment.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And as an adult, like, I'm starting to realise, like, I've always been taught, by the way, guys, just disclaimer, like, that there's a God, and obviously I need to pray, I need to believe in God, but I've never been in an environment where, like, you know, we all go together into a church.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just kind of like, you're at home, and you pray to your God, and you make sure you have that relationship with God.
But do you think that worked for you, or would you like have preferred it if you had like more someone kind of like helping you along, or like helping you see different things, or do you like how it kind of like turned out where you just ended up going for yourself?
To be fair, I feel like I would never know. Number one, because like it's never happened, but also from things that I see now, I'm kind of happy that wasn't the case, because I don't see positive things. I see like people talking about like churches being cults and like trying to draw people in, and then you see negative stuff about like pastors, and you just wonder, like, you don't even know what you're getting yourself into. So I'm kind of glad that I, like, sometimes I'm like, because I've always been the type to be like, I really want to go to church. I'm like, would I be that person that got drawn in? It makes me question, because I've always wanted to be in that. But then I realised that the main thing for me is just having that relationship with God, and that's it. Like, just, you know, knowing that he's my father, and that's who, you know, I pray to. And yeah, I don't know, it's just such a hard one.
It's such a hard one, because I feel the older you get, you kind of start to like question things a bit more, and you want to figure out, especially like when you have kids, like you kind of want to figure out, what am I going to do with them? What is it I want to teach them? How much do I want to leave it to them to figure out as well, like, and give them their own like agency? But
it's just hard. I know for me, for example, like with my daughter, like, I want her to know how to pray. I want her to know that God comes first. I want her to have that path. But I want her to, like, I don't want to feel like I'm forcing her.
Okay. So then, for example, how would you, that doesn't necessarily have to be something that you thought about, how would you show her?
Well, I've thought about it.
Yeah, okay.
Like, because she's still young, like, now that she's starting to speak, like, little prayers, like, before eating, before bed, I'll teach her to pray.
Yeah.
And, like, I personally feel like what I'll do is, like, have Bible study with my child.
Yeah.
Like, in my home, where I know what my child's doing. Because I feel like nowadays, outside is a very scary place. And I'm not saying that everyone is evil and crazy, but you hear about all these things that happen everywhere, including churches.
100%.
And I just don't want to feel guilty for taking her somewhere that is not good for her. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like, for me to feel at peace, I'd rather do it on my own with my partner and with my family. So if it's a thing where it's like on a Sunday, we're going to sit down and we're going to read the Bible and we're going to pray, that's what I want to do. But for me, it's never really been a thing where I felt the need to go into church. There was a point where I did, because I felt like you can't really, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I did once upon a time feel like I can't have that very close relationship to God if I'm not in a church setting. And I don't know whether I'm wrong in thinking that. I don't know, but yeah, I feel like
I'm probably the worst to ask about this.
I don't know, but then, yeah.
Because it's so 50-50. I think, on one hand, like anything, it helps when you have other people doing it with you. It helps when you have other people holding you, like, accountable. It helps when you have other people just to kind of, like, fall back on, that can help you. So you don't know everything. Like, with anything in life, you need other people to kind of give you instructions, or to ask for advice on certain things, and just get a perspective. But at the same time, being in a building, in my opinion, from what I've seen, experience, doesn't necessarily improve. That alone that's what I'm trying to say. That alone doesn't improve your relationship with God. Like, it's not that alone. It's the stuff that you do behind closed doors. You can be going, and I've seen people going in places week in, week out, and you're terrible people. You're devils. Like, devils aren't outside sometimes. Like, they're literally in churches. I've seen it. But sometimes, so it's not, for me, it's not just necessarily being in a building alone. It's like, one, like, you've got to be in a good environment where those people, like, you know, they're there for the right reasons, and they genuinely care about, like, helping people become better. And that's what's at its core, and you know that what you guys are following is an agreement. That's why I think it depends on more than just do I need to be in a building every single Sunday. It's about, like, you need to be in the right place.
But I feel like no matter what, there's never really going to be the right place, because wherever you go, because I feel like you can I feel like it's all you and your relationship with God, whether you're in a church or not, no matter what faith you are, because at the end of the day, there's going to be very good people that still go to church, and there's also going to be very evil people. So really and truly, what I would say, if you are the type of person to go in, you go in for yourself and you come out. And I know this sounds bad, but if I was to start going, I'm not interacting with nobody.
No, I hear it. That's it.
Going in, I don't need to talk to you guys, and I'm leaving. I'm not here to conversate and do all of that stuff. I'm here to listen to the word and to leave. I don't have time for the extra stuff. And I feel like,
but it's kind of sad to get to that point, because I'm the same. You know me, I'm just like, I will never, like, that point, I'm like, I will never step in foot into one of those places again. Like, my atheist faith, like, that, all of that, I've had. But I've also seen that there are some places, one place, but where there really are good people. And I think it's kind of sad that, like, we have that perspective when there are people that are genuinely, like, welcoming and willing to make room and, like, willing to accommodate. I do think it's just sad more than anything. It is sad, because it's like, they didn't do nothing.
And they're
trying. But sometimes, like you said, it's just doing what works for you at the end of the day, and taking it, like, step by step. And if what works is going, not interacting so that you can hear, then that's what works. Like, you want to be in the right place and make sure you're hearing from voices that aren't just your own, then do that. Obviously, we're speaking from, like, a perspective of people speaking about, like, Jesus, because that's what I know. But if you're from a different faith, I guess you kind of have to, like, adapt it to you and to your situation.
But also, talking about that, I think another reason for me why it's a bit negative is because from the experiences that I've had, a lot of people that do follow whatever path that they're on and whatever they believe in, they're very judgmental people. And I think I just didn't understand it growing up. So it's like, for example, growing up, like, one of my parents was, like, following Jehovah's Witness side of things, hence why I've never been to a church. And you guys were thinking why I've never been in a church. It's not because, like, but following that route, and it was like, it was so different, and I just didn't understand it. So it's like, I don't understand that. I've never been in a church, so I'm just here, like, I don't know what's going on. I do believe in God, but I just don't. And it's like, you're telling me, like, you believe in God, but you're so judgmental. It's like, me and my siblings would do one thing and they'll be looking at you like, ugh, in disgust, and I'm like, hold on a minute, like, what is going on here? And I think seeing that as a young child, that you're trying to, like, I was completely put off from the time that you're telling me I can't watch simple TV and all I want to do is watch a cartoon, even though there was reasons. The way you put it across, as a child, you're never going to understand it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's just, I think if you're trying to teach your children or do that side of things, it's the way you go about it. It's a really important thing. Like, obviously, I'm not going to tell people how to raise their kids, but I do think you need to be very wary of how you teach children things. So, like, now I'm, like, taking that all in, and when it comes to Naylor, I'm literally like, okay, I need to remember this and that,
and remembering how you felt as well in the
100%. And one thing as well, I don't want my child to completely go down the wrong road where they absolutely hate God. That's my fear as well.
And that's the thing, because I honestly think sometimes, for me at least, being in certain places can leave you with like a lot more damage than if you just stayed at home and minded your business. Like, that's not always the case, but I think your experiences anywhere in any situation with people, with environments, can really have like a massive effect on your outlook on things. Like, you can have, I know sometimes people joke and be like, okay, but it was just one bad experience. You can't say you hate a whole group of people because one bad experience, but you need to realize that some people's experiences, that might be their breaking point. Like, it could literally be that was their last resort. You have no clue what kind of baggage people are carrying by the time like you've met them. Like, if I meet you at 40 years old, you've had 40 years worth of like life, of trauma, of decisions, of everything that you're coming with, and that one thing that I say could literally be what sets it off and like what ruins things. And I just think that's something that people need to like sort of like bear in mind and understand that sometimes it's just better that people figure things out in a way that works for them ultimately, than trying to rush them in something because you feel like it looks right, like that's what on paper, like that's what they should be doing, like they should be here like every single day. They decide they're going to take something serious, they're going to take the situation seriously, so tomorrow I want you to be in church Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But like, no, like, let people do things at their own pace in a way that sort of like works for them.
Yeah.
And I feel like with that, it'll stay longer because it works out better when it's your decision and you know how it works for your life.
Yeah.
And with the whole judgmental thing, I think, I 100% agree. I think it's that, and there's also like layers. I'm trying not to be biased because if I say, well, you know, I'm trying so hard right now, but
it's like the place where you're meant to feel safe. It's almost like you feel like you're being judged more than you would be outside, and that's a scary
and
thing.
And I think ultimately that's what it is that makes people decide, you know, I'm not even dealing with that. Not just judgmental. Obviously, we're all adults. We know regardless of where you go, there's always going to be problems. Whether that's a mosque, whether that's a synagogue, whether that's work. As long as you put a different group of people together, there's always going to be clashes. There's going to be some people that are rude people. There's going to be some people that are jealous people. There's going to be angry people. There's going to be abusers. There's all kinds of people because we're just human beings. Like, people are different. My thing is now, like, how do people in those environments deal with things when those situations come up? And that's where I had to draw the line. Because I can accept that if I go somewhere, people might be judgmental. Because when you go to work, there's judgmental colleagues. You know, I can deal with that. But I can deal with, for example, you go somewhere at work, you might have a colleague that's always really rude, makes you feel like some type of way, but there's a procedure that gets dealt with. And the thing is, with any environment, obviously we're speaking about like faith and our perspectives from like churches and stuff. When those things come up, how does that get dealt with? And for a lot of what I've seen is double standards. It's just it's the double standard I don't like. Like, as in, if it's you, everyone has to keep quiet. But when it's someone else's kid or it's someone else, then it's like it's a big problem and they have to be like judged more. And that's something I don't ever, like, no, drop me out. It's how do you deal with those situations when things come up? I don't have the answer for that.
Yeah.
But
quickly, so what would you say in regards to people that like want to get with people that are not necessarily from their same?
We've had this conversation, right? And I think it depends. For me personally, let me say me personally. Me, Joyce, personally, I don't think I could do it.
Okay.
Would I want to dabble? Would it make life easier on one hand because it just opens up your options like a bit more? Yes. When I go to Dubai and they're all in the sorry, no, actually, let me not say Dubai because now it's given Porta Potty, whatever. No. But when it's just like, what's the thing? The phobe?
Yeah. They look.
Or when it's Eid, it's like
very handsome.
Mashallah. Yes, but But I'm also aware that it's like quite surface. Like, it doesn't work. I'm so annoying. Yeah, but I'm also aware, for me personally, it wouldn't work because I would want someone to have like the same foundations as me. I would want someone to have like the same long-term perspective as me. Even if I never step foot in a church ever again, I want you to have the same foundation. Do you know what I mean? But that being said, I think it depends on how important your faith is to you. For some people, it's just like something that you put on like a paper when you're signing document forms and you're like, yeah, this is what I identify as, or I got baptized when I was a child, so I'm a Catholic, like tick. But with other people, if it's something that you hold strongly to yourself, I'm sure it can work. There's situations where people have interfaith situations, but I do think it's just a lot more organizing, a lot more planning. If you're starting to have a family, what are your thoughts on that? Like, how are you gonna, if you want to raise your children in your faith, like what happens then? It's just a lot more thinking.
It is.
I'm sure it can work, but for me personally, it's not an approach I would take. What about you?
I don't know, you know. I feel like, I don't know. I actually don't know. I've never actually thought about that. I feel like I'm very much the type of person where you can believe in what you believe in. But
like quite free.
Yeah, quite free in that sense. Because at the end of the day, we're all being judged differently when it comes down to it. So that's just how I see it. As long as my kids are on the right path. But that also makes it hard.
Yeah, like,
because I was literally going to say, there's a footballer, I don't know what his, Mo something, when it was Christmas and he was posting, and obviously they're Muslim, I was like, oh my God, like, this is insane. But if it works for them, it works for them. And I feel like sometimes you just got to let people...
But with I think him and his partner, they're both Muslim, no? Isn't it just, they just celebrated Christmas?
Oh, it's not one...
I'm pretty sure.
I think they're both, but I think he said he didn't want his kids to feel left out or something. Yeah, I think it just depends on how. So, say for example, because I had with some cultures, it's a lot of like chop and chunk. Like, you have families where the kids are like, I'm half Muslim, half Christian, because it's just like a cultural thing. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And with that, what happens now when I'm saying, okay, but the weight to the child, you need to... I guess I answered the question earlier. It's just the child's decision. It's the child's decision, yeah. I feel like the reason why I'm free with it is because, like, on my mum's side, like, a lot of her family are half and half Muslim and half Christian. So I'm kind of, like, used to, like, having some uncles that are really, like, fasting. And I'm just, like, it's normal to me. Like, I don't... It's just, like, that's what you believe in and that's what you want to do. Like I said, at the end of the day, we're all being judged
differently.
Individually. Yeah. Literally. Like, so when it comes down to it... I'm not going with you regardless. I'm not going with Naila. We're not going together. We're not holding hands. So who am I to be like, you know?
But this is... So
do you know what I mean?
That's having like family members and having family stuff. But if this is someone that you plan...
Like, if it's my child, if it was my child...
No, before your child. So even before you get to the point of having a child, partner, this is your partner.
As long as he believes and has strong faith in something, that's the main thing.
Right,
I would prefer... you believe in something, then saying there's nothing there. I would literally be like, bye-bye. Okay. I'm out, like, because you're scary.
Right. Yeah.
So not that there's anything wrong, but for me personally, I just can't do that. So as long as you believe in something, then that's fine. If that's what you believe is right, then that's what you believe is right.
Yeah.
I might not necessarily agree with you, but as long as we don't disrespect one another and you respect one another's beliefs, then I would just be like, I'll just be like, okay, cool. But when it comes to the children, that's when it's hard. But I think, you know, I teach my side, you teach yours, and whatever the child wants to be, let them be, and then when it's time and God comes down, deuces, guys, no, I'm joking. I told you. No, I'm joking.
When I was younger, I used to have a friend that we used to do bets with. This is like secondary school time. It's so bad. And if you see, I feel so bad that we used to do this now. We would have bets like every single year. Like it would be like half the Christians, half the Muslims. And we used to go to each other like, so do you still believe this person's God? And they'll be like, yeah. Do you still believe this person's God? And like, yeah. And we'll give each other like a year to come back and decide if we changed our mind. Like we'll come back next year like, yeah, you changed your mind yet? And they're like, no. Like, you changed your mind yet? No. Like it was so annoying. And I used to be like, well, like, fine, I guess on Judgment Day we're gonna see. Like that's what you.
But it's a fact though. Because like, do you know what someone said to me? You think you're right, but what about if you're right? And I'm like, oh. Like imagine, well, we won't know until the day comes, right? You know that one's
that's like what you're saying. Okay, you have to do what you feel. Like there's no one can force you to do anything. 100%. It doesn't work. And the same way, even if you follow something but you're not fully convinced, you're not fully convicted, that in itself.
But do you know what makes me sad? Just the last point, guys, is like seeing I've like followed some people on social media and they're with like people that are not
the same faith
as them, and their parents have completely disowned them. And do you know how sad that makes me? It's like, this is your child.
Yeah.
Like, I know God comes first, but this is actually your child, and like, you know, I don't know, that just hurts me. Like, I see so many of that, especially with Asian girls as well. It's actually quite, like, Bengali I've seen.
It's just hard. I think culture and faith they're such important things to people. And I guess that's kind of why people like avoid having those conversations, having those discussions, having to go into it, because it's literally, you can say one thing and you can become public enemy number one because it's such a sensitive topic and it's so personal for everyone. Would that be the approach I would necessarily take to disown my child if I had one? No. But you know people hold certain things.
Feel like it's the faith, though. I feel like sometimes they use that
as a cover up. No, but there's some people. It's like you can have the same culture, but you can be from the same cultural background, the same ethnicity, but the fact that you have a different religion, it's like absolutely not. The family won't accept you. So much of people's faith is led by their cultures.
Yeah.
And a lot of people's like cultures has their faith into it. Like even like Congolese people, for example, like even like our names, like Congolese people, we have like biblical names 9 times out of 10, like not us, but you know, a lot of times it's like they have like big meanings and stuff, and there's songs that you sing in your languages and stuff like that, like so much that everyone knows, whether you go to church or not, like you know those things. And it's like so much of people's cultures and faith are like really intertwined. So as much as it might not be something that I personally thought I would do, I can understand why it might make life difficult for both sides. So whether it's like for the people that are together, all 4 families, it's just so big. Like
I think for me it's just not understanding, like, you're not in the relationship. It's nothing to do with you. You don't have to be with that person. Just let people be with people that they want to be with. You know, let people just do what they want in life. Like, at the end of the day, everyone's life path is different. Literally, like, it's just crazy because I feel like everyone's just always trying to control. Like, you lived your life, mom. Like, let me be. Like, honestly, it's like even little things. Like, I know this, like, little things, like something so simple as like traveling. Like, you know, like if your child wants to travel, you came to this country at like 14 by yourself.
That's a
your
good
parents
point.
Left you to fly.
Good point.
But yet when it's your kids, you're like, no, you can't do this. You can't do that. It's just, guys, please, just let your kids learn. And if they learn the hard way, that's okay too.
There's some people that have to learn the hard way. Like, those who don't hear must feel. I'm definitely a those who don't hear must feel type of person. Like, sometimes I just need to see. Like, I know you said that I need to see it for myself. But that's how I learn. You know, and people learn differently.
Just do what you want to do at the end of the day.
I guess. Right, Joyce, what have you got for us?
Okay, so guys, we've now got what's it called?
I don't know. We need a name for this. Maybe they can give us a name.
Right. I've added 2 more in there.
Oh my
So I'm
gosh.
gonna shake it a bit. Oh, shit. Oh, that's
well.
Okay, let's hide that down there.
There's one staring at me, but I don't want that.
There's one right down there.
Is it actually my turn or is it your turn?
Is it my turn or your turn?
I don't know, but I feel like you're scamming me. Is it her turn?
I know the last one.
No.
Yeah, the last one I did.
What did you do?
When I edge recorded.
Oh.
Thanks. Love that for me.
I've got one right at the bottom. Okay. Oh, I'm scared. This looks... Why is it always a dare?
What is it? What is it?
I wrote this one as well.
Love that for me.
Post your last picture on your camera roll to one of your stories.
What's your last picture?
Oh my god, I don't know. I'm scared.
Oh damn.
What's your last picture? If it's bad, then what happens? Do I still have to do it?
I guess. I guess.
I bet it's a screenshot of like.
What's your last? No wait.
I'm scared.
What's your last picture?
I don't know. Hold on. Oh, it's a video of Nayla.
Oh, that's cute. Boo.
Yes. So what story? What any story?
Yeah, you could. It's any.
I put my Snapchat story. Alright.
Boo.
Well, it's my child. So I don't mind doing that. Hey.
Honestly, that would have been so much more fun if I got that one. All your videos and pictures are probably just like Nayla. That's so cute.
This is it.
That is so cute. Oh, look at her reaction. My Dolly.
Well, I'm happy with that one. Thanks.
But yeah, hopefully next week we've got more stuff for you.
Yes, guys. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram on Duo Official.
Also, if you have had any questions or wanted to carry the conversation on, because I feel like there's so much more we could have said.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Let us know. Comment down below.
Yeah, you can follow us at Duo Official
on TikTok and Instagram, and follow me on Joyce Man on all social media.
And you can follow me at Joyce Elian on all socials as well.
Thanks for watching. See you next week. Bye guys.